Shalom, brothers and sisters, and good morning to everybody else. This is Ezra Drew, and this right here is a continuation of my last video, 4 foods that we were taught were healthy but are toxic. In the last video, I talked about milk. Now, I want to talk about beans, right? So, again, beans is one of those foods that we grew up eating. We can make a lot of it, feed the whole family for a cheap price. It's the basis of a lot of Latino or our Ephraim brothers' meal plans. A lot of the recipes contain beans. I love chili. As I used to love chili, before I figured out about beans. But there's alternative ways to still make chili. But at the end of the day, we're going to go into some information to see whether beans are actually healthy or they're not healthy, right? The first thing I want to put out there is if anybody knows who Dr. Sebi is, just a quick recap. Dr. Sebi was an African doctor that lived in Honduras, that cured AIDS, cancer, every disease known to man. And a lot of people follow his meal plans and what he says is food and not food on a regular basis. The body is made up of alkaline and acid, and the goal is to eat alkaline foods, which boost the pH balance of the body and fight off diseases, make it impossible for a disease of any kind to be able to prosper and grow in the body. And acid does the opposite. It actually gives you the cancers and most of the diseases known to man, right? So the goal is, like I said, to weed out acid, bring in alkaline. Okay, I want to start out by reading an article, but I'm going to read from 2 sources today. The first source is www.samhealth.org. I'm going to say it again. www.samhealth.org. And the title of this article is, Are Lectins in Plant-Based Foods Your Friend or Foe? Lectins are plant proteins that bind to carbohydrates. In nature, plants are lectins as a defense against being eaten. When they bind to carbohydrates, it makes them harder for the human body or the human gut to digest. Lectins are in most plants, but especially high in beans, lentils, and some vegetables. Even though these foods are part of a healthy diet, it's helpful to understand how lectins can affect digestion. Are lectins harmful? The bad news is that lectins in their active state can cause some digestive problems like nausea, vomiting, upset stomach, and diarrhea. In animal studies, active lectin blocked the absorption of iron, phosphorus, zinc, and calcium, the very nutrients that many lectin-containing foods are rich in. This is why lectins are sometimes called the anti-nutrient. I'm going to stop right there in that article. If something is an anti-nutrient, that means they can put it on the back of the package, and they can try to sell it to you. Oh, it has zinc, it has iron, it has phosphorus, it has calcium. But then, if the lectins are actually causing your body not to be able to absorb those same nutrients, you're not even getting them anyway. So it's like a placebo, like a mirage. It's a trick. You're not getting those nutrients in your body when you eat these foods. As a matter of fact, if you're eating beans with something that is nutritious, the beans are taking the nutrients out of the other food. So anything that you put beans with, anything that you put beans with as a recipe, if it's healthy, if it has some kind of nutrients in it, your body's not going to get it because it's got beans in it. It's got that lectin in it, right? Now I want to go to another source. And the second source is a Facebook page, and it's called Keeping Dr. Sebi's Legacy. Keeping Dr. Sebi's Healing and Legacy Alive. Again, Keeping Dr. Sebi's Healing and Legacy Alive, right? We're going to go into this article. We're going to see what it says about beans. The title of this article is, After Reading These 7 Terrifying Things About Beans, You May Never Eat Them Again. This is a disclaimer. This article only excludes garbanzo beans, known as chickpeas. According to several sources, chickpeas doesn't have the same impact on the body as other beans. And the garbanzo beans go good in salad. They also are the only kind of flour that I use. I don't use the regular flour because that's not nutritious either. I use garbanzo flour. That's just a little disclaimer. Beans block the body from absorbing minerals. Beans contain phytates. Phytates are elements found in beans that are a major concern because they both steal minerals and prevent minerals from being absorbed in the body. Also, phytates inhibit the functioning of certain enzymes which are critical to digestion. So not only are beans stopping any kind of nutrients from going in your body, they're also inhibiting your digestive process. Let's go to the next page. Beans contain lectins. Lectins in beans are powerful toxins found in many genetically engineered crops. Lectins in beans cause leaky gut and increased inflammation in the gut, which can lead to many diseases according to sources. You don't want leaky gut. Leaky gut is bad. That's when the lining of your stomach gets a hole in it, and that can kill you. Some of most well-known lectins are agglutinin, phytohymagglutinin, and ricin. All of which are found in legumes such as peanuts, kidney beans, and castor beans. Go to the next page. Beans are high in protease inhibitors. Protease inhibitors are molecules that stop protease from doing their job in the body. Protease break down certain elements in food, and when that process is tampered with, the body starts producing too much of a certain enzyme. This can ultimately lead to health conditions. Soybeans are the worst protease inhibitors according to sources. That's another thing that I heard Dr. Sebi say. Soy is bad. See, they've been selling us soy too. They've been forcing soy down our throat. They've been telling us that soybeans and soy is an alternative to meat. It's an alternative to this, an alternative to that. It's an alternative to good health. All right? We got to get away from the soy. Go to the next page. Some beans have phytoestrogens. phytoestrogens bind to the same receptors that estrogen binds to, but phytoestrogens give a much weaker signal than estrogen. When weaker signals are sent, the body will often overproduce estrogen, which throw the entire hormonal system off balance. This can lead to several health conditions such as Alzheimer's, bladder cancer, asthma, and disrupted reproduction and infertility. And if this makes sense, men are not supposed to have that much estrogen. So that means that might have something to do with a lot of these feminine traits that men are exhibiting these days. Phytoestrogen. Let's go to the next page. Now this right here is about the can that the beans come in. Cans of beans contain BPA. And I just want to put the disclaimer out there because I learned this from Dr. Sebi too. I don't eat no canned foods. I don't eat nothing that comes in a can. Why? Because can is aluminum. The aluminum leaks into the food and now you're eating heavy metals. That's a proven fact. They're also getting ready to tell us how BPA is in the cans as well. BPA is the same thing that's in some of the bottles of water. I'm going to do another video on most of the water that we're drinking, even the bottled waters, have BPA. They have basically plastic in them. And a lot of the filtering processes that we think is cleaning the water actually puts a new kind of toxin in the water. But that's a whole new video for another day. But there's only very few kinds of bottled waters that you can drink. I only drink Evian. I don't drink no other kind of bottled water. Evian, I think there's another one called Iceberg or something like that. Those are the top two. I don't mess around with no other kind of waters, period. No other kind of filtering processes or anything like that, period. But anyway, cans of beans contain BPA. Beans don't naturally have BPA, but the lining of many cans do. BPA is a chemical found in most plastic. Several studies have linked BPA with miscarriage, erectile dysfunction, abnormal reproductive development in children, heart disease, prostate cancer, and breast cancer. So a lot of these well-known diseases, they're coming from sources that you wouldn't even think about. You know, you're not even thinking about the can that you're getting, your stuff out of is causing all these problems for you, right? It's like they get it. This guy that got us going and coming. That's why the Bible says, beware of the leaven of the Gentiles, meaning beware of the food of the people in these countries that we was brought into as slaves. But that's another lesson, right? Let's read the next part. Legumes are high in saponins. That's spelled that's spelled SAPONINS. Saponins. Saponins are compounds that are found in most beans. They have a particular chemical structure that allows them to bind to the surface of your intestinal cells. This process creates holes in the surface membranes of the cells which line the gut, allowing a variety of substances found in the gut to destroy the cells. So basically, this saponins, when it says beans give you leaky gut, the saponins is how they do it. When you eat the beans, it attaches itself to the lining of your stomach and puts holes in it. Wow. So, in a nutshell, my final thought is this. Like, I love beans, but we're going to have to find some alternatives to these beans because they're not healthy for us. They're taking us out of the game. You know what I mean? And so I just wanted to bring that information out because I've been doing this for a while, and I've been meaning to make these videos for a while, and I just finally got the confidence to do that. Okay, so, all right, that's the end of that. I'm going to do a part 3, and the part 3 is going to be about rice and why we shouldn't eat rice. All right? All right, so I love y'all. Y'all stay safe out there. Don't take the vaccine. Don't take the jab. And I'll see you in the next video. Shalom. I'm Ezra Drew.